Coming from a married couple who investigates all things supernatural, most people forget one side of investigating, the everyday human side. Before investigating, they had to learn everything that's involved with cases, all the while balancing their marriage, family life, friendships, and work life. Twisted Ascensions brings an inside look at how their marriage works on and off cases, spreading the knowledge they've learned over the years about trauma, drug abuse, dealing with spiritual gifts, protection work, and so much more. Dive into the world of a paranormal couple that doesn't shy away from hard questions, but rather offers raw and unfiltered answers. Listen to the good, bad, and ugly stories of various topics and hear from other investigators, past clients, and colleagues within the field. Now, your host of Twisted Ascensions, Caden and Allissa Mask.
Welcome to the Murder Folks. My name is Caden, coming to you live from the hollers of Mississippi,
where we will talk about navigating the supernatural, our lives inside of that, and everything in between. I'm your host, Allissa.
We did everything hard so that you don't have to. Quite literally. And this, y'all, is Twisted Ascensions. Oh, boy. So we have
had a time since the last time that we were on.
It's been
wild.
Eventful.
We entered 2023 with a bang. A bang.
Lots going on. We're going to kind of fill you guys in the first part, but tonight our topic is going to be trauma. And just how it sounds, trauma. We're going to talk traumas that me and Allissa have gone through, trauma, how it affected us in the paranormal field. Because a lot of people forget that when trauma happens, you know, being a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, whatever you call yourself, it's a hobby. It's a fun thing to do. But behind that label, you're still human in the real world.
And even if you're not into the paranormal and the supernatural, and that's not what you delve into, knowing what trauma is a good thing to know. Like what, knowing what to look for and learn behaviors from trauma is a good thing to know.
Yeah. And I have been under the weather, so I'm probably going to be coughing, and I may have to go off set for just a minute, but
we're here.
We're going to power through it. We are diving directly into it. We're not going to waste time tonight because it's a topic that will probably carry on for the next show or two shows, for sure.
Yes.
So we kind of told you guys on the first show about how we got into the field, a little bit about our lives, but one thing that we didn't touch much on was our living situation currently and what the past 3 years has looked like for us.
Woo!
So we're going to you want to work backwards, talk about what happened, what's going on right now, and then
I think it would be easier to start backwards and move forward.
That's your gig. Get after it.
So you heard us talk a lot about, us being with a prior team and co-founding another team and the adventures we had with them, and then the adventures we had when we decided to go kind of nomadic on our own and do our own thing, and then completely naturally and organically our little thing that we have now was born after we done that. Like, that wasn't our goal. Southern Ascension was not a thing. We left and we went to do our own thing, and for a long time as a medium, I hit the paranormal wide open. And I gave everything that I had to give. I couldn't learn enough. I couldn't do enough. Anytime I had the opportunity to help somebody, that's what I wanted to do. Like, it was just a constant thing. And I think on our first episode, you kind of touched base on the fact, like, our phones never stopped. Yeah. It was all the time. It was a 24-hour gig. It really was. And so with that, and I should probably go prior to that. Prior to that, I had 8 years of sobriety. And I had never even really fell into a place where I wanted to just relapse. It was just never a thing. Well, I take that back. When we lost our daughter, I went through a phase where it was really difficult, but it was pretty easy, I say, compared to my relapse to pull myself out of that.
Yeah, that one was, to me, it was short-lived.
It was very short-lived. I had, it was different. So fast forward to
But you had been in active addiction for
it was a long time.
10 years? Eight years of active addiction, and then another 8 years of sobriety right in behind that.
And we went through that with losing our daughter. Then fast forward a couple years, we were in the paranormal field. A couple more years, we were nomadic. And at the point, there's a pivotal point in all of this where when we broke away, we were doing our own thing. I felt so much pressure because everything was growing so fast. It was insane. And I had this immense need to help everyone that I possibly could. And with this, I was still a mother to a child who was newly in school. I was a wife. I was an employee, full-time employee, working almost 60 hours a week. So, it was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. And during that crazy period, like, I had dropped some weight. I was pretty stressed out. It was not that my life was bad, but it was so chaotic and it was so hard emotionally, and it was just so much. And I fell into this place where I caught myself just being exhausted all the time, and I had nothing left to give to anyone. And then all of a sudden, I found myself in this place where I was feeling all of these things, all these other things that I was trying to do. And I relapsed. And I went into this horrible, horrible place. And Caden helped pull me out of it. He sent me to a rehab facility. We dropped Southern Ascension. We did nothing paranormal or inside the field for a long time. I focused on my sobriety. I focused on my family. And from there, we started back up later. And when we first started back up, I was very open about my relapse and owning what I had done, especially to the people that had been with us for years, because they had been. Some of these people have actually seen our son kind of grow up through all of this. They've just been there that long. And fast forward from that, my first year sober, my dad got really, really sick. That was in 2020. At the end of the spring of 2020, after COVID kind of settled down a little bit, I went back to work and was working full time for the first time since being sober. And like 3 months into being a full-time employee again, newly sober, and being home and adjusting to life again, my dad got really, 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 really sick. And he lived about 30 minutes from us. And so I would work all day, drive 30 minutes away, stay until he went to bed, do everything he needed me to do, go home, and then be a wife and mom. Like, it was a lot. So fast forward from there, he got even worse, and it just kept progressing. And we moved into the home that is with my family, and started taking care of my dad. I took care of him for about 6 or 7 months, but it was 6 months.
Yeah.
And then September the 8th of 2022, no, 2021, we woke up and my dad had passed. So we went through all of that. And in the midst of all of this, my grandmother got extremely ill, which was a very hard thing for me because that was one of my favorite people in the entire world. And she slowly decreased in health, and it was a very long, slow process to watch. And even Caden was close to her, so him watching her go down, it was just a lot. And then in October of this year, we lost her. And within 2 weeks of losing her, I found out that my mother had stage 3 lung cancer. And like all of this is, it sounds kind of like it's spaced out a lot. It really, in
It
our
really
lives,
wasn't.
it doesn't seem like it was. There's just so much. Literally since 2019, it has been one thing after another.
Yeah.
And so this year, like I said, it wasn't even a month. It was a week and a half, I guess, after we buried my grandmother's when I found out that my mom was in stage 3.
Yeah,
blood
we
cancer.
found out a week after we buried her, but when she went from being sick to in the hospital bed of her room is when your mom's health plummeted.
Literally just that the same night, because
Yeah.
I mean you had to rush her to the hospital. Since then, we have moved my mother into our home and are caring for her. And so for the last 6 weeks of my life, 5 days a week, I am at a cancer clinic. Today for my mother was her last day of chemo, which was a huge deal. I won't even touch on that because I could go on forever about the mental part of chemo, because I cannot imagine. I can't imagine being somebody hooked up to a machine, pumping medicine into me that I know I'm about to be sick, and then making myself do it over and over again. I fully understand why people who are in remission are like, not doing it again. Nope. Nope. Like, I get it. So from there, here we are. Oh, and amidst the last week and a half, Caden cut his finger off.
Yeah.
And had extensive quick surgery about 3 hours away from our home. And here we are. Happy 2023.
Happy 2023.
Happy.
You know, I still have it. It's just not all there. But it's okay.
Yes.
It happens.
I'm already teary-eyed.
That's
why am I teary-eyed?
I went and got those.
You got those because you're stuffing.
I'm sniffling too, but I can still do this number. So how about we do this?
Okay.
Let's switch it up. Like, we wanted to get back to our roots, and part of our roots is our talks we used to have. You know?
I don't like your talks though, because you ask like questions that make me think and cry. But that's okay. It's okay. We'll do it.
We have,
I will power
you know,
through it.
I know that some of the ones watching right now, they've been with us. Callie, Dawn, y'all have been with us since the absolute beginning of all this. But on speaking on trauma, okay, since we're talking about yours, okay. When it comes to your mediumship, what did that trauma do to your mediumship? Because a lot of people do believe that people that are gifted like that, have mediumship, they all have one thing in common, which is a major trauma that sparked it.
Bro, I have multiple.
But I'm just saying, like, that's kind of the common denominator.
Well, I mean, I've spoke about the very first one that I guess would be considered traumatic. The first initial event wasn't, but the things that happened after were. Yeah. That were all related to
that's what I'm getting at. Like, most people believe that to become a medium or a true medium, to be truly empathic in all the clairs.
Yes.
It's deep rooted into a
severe trauma.
Like
a core thing.
Right. So you go through severe trauma, your mediumship sparks. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens as a medium? Because most people, they should be learning how to deal with it and meditate on it and such if you're going to be involved with that. What happens to your mediumship and your gifts as you go through trauma?
Okay, so for me, I have two separate ones. I'll touch on one later, but the first one would be like, I would say 95% of my trauma that I've went through, if I just went through my list and like attached mediumship to them.
Okay.
One of the pros of it is you have this one security that I don't think everybody else has, because you have this one thing that you know there's good. You've seen it, you felt it, you know it's real. You might not see it right now, but you know it's there. So like the hope and faith that people talk about needing to hold on to when they're going through pain or grief or agony with trauma, as a medium, you have this one thing, you know it's there. You might not see it anywhere. You might not be able to feel it at the moment, but you have seen it and you felt it. So you know that good's there and it's coming.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I will say that's a pro. One of the negative things of it, or for me as a medium, was it kind of goes, you hear people talk about being empathic where they can feel other people's pain.
Right.
And I do fully believe that. I'm not taking away from that. But for me, it goes beyond that. So when you feel pain with trauma, as a medium, for me, it made it 1,000 times worse. Like the pain was so intense that you would feel it inside of your core being, your bones.
So it was.
I'm crying talking about it.
Trauma's there, but if you dealt with trauma before your mediumship started, and then as a medium, you went through more trauma.
Yes.
And it felt worse.
Yes.
Well, like more intense.
It's more intense. The internal pain that you feel, or for me, is more intense. It's amplified because you have this, you know, the good's there and you can't feel it. And so all you feel is the bad. And sometimes I think it would be easier if you didn't know that the good exists. And you could just make yourself, because I feel like if you could just make yourself believe, okay, this is it. This is just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's easier to just throw your hands up and say, okay, this is it. This is how it's going to be. And it's just, this is it right here. Point blank period. This is it. But you can't do that because you know that it's there. You just have to get back to it. And it's freaking hard.
Excuse me. Okay, so how does that make you feel going through trauma as a medium when your job as a medium is to help other people with their trauma?
A lot of different ways. Like, I have felt weak inside my mediumship because of it. Because I can sit and tell someone until I'm blue in the face exactly what they need to do to help themselves. Yeah. But then when it happens to you and you are the only one left there to pull your bootstraps up, you're like, damn it. Like, it's really easy to sit and help someone. I have one. It's really easy to help someone when you know because you've went through it. But then when you have to continuously go through it, you're like, shit, man. Because it's
like, just give me a bone.
Yeah, like
I mean, we're married, and I have been through those traumas with you, but we've never just actually talked about how it made you feel, given that at one time your job description was to help others with heartache or going through a trauma. You know, a lot of people that are watching, and one thing that you guys have to remember about me and Allissa is not only do we help people with spirits or supernatural beings, but we're also addiction counselors and help people go to rehab. So throwing that out there just so that you understand, like, is it one of those where you just, I mean, I've gotten mad because I go through and it's like my phone nonstop goes off. Right. And it's not the fact that it's going off, it's that people want me to help them, and that's what I'm there for. But when it's time for me to get help,
you're like, what the hell?
Cricket,
yeah, no, I know. Trust me, I get it. We've been through that together.
So, I mean, so is that kind of how you
deserted?
Yes. Is that what made you take a step back like you did?
That, and and I mean, you had very personal discussions about this. I'm about to get really freaking vulnerable.
Welcome to our marriage.
So, I was told that I had not learned what I was supposed to learn. And
well, do you want to back up and like really paint the picture?
I don't really know how to paint that picture with words, because it was to me, it's one of those, you just had to be there and be in the midst of it to understand.
All right, this is when you relapsed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2 years ago, and I'm
almost
sure that's
3.
what you almost 3.
Almost 3.
I'm assuming that's what you're talking about when I ran out.
Yes.
Is you had relapsed, and then I had found you. Me and Jason and a couple of our other friends had helped
get
you home. Yes. And we sent you off to rehab.
Yes.
And at that time is when I shut down Southern Ascension.
That was on your own accord.
That was on my own accord because I had some.
There was a lot going on.
I had a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
It wasn't just with the relapse. I had. You learn who your friends are.
Yeah.
During trauma. That's another thing with trauma. But I had some other things going on, so I shut it down just to avoid it.
Right.
And during that, I know that when we had conversations when you came back from rehab about how everything was different with your gifts. Everything was different, and you didn't want to push yourself because that's what pushed you.
It was some
of it.
Yeah.
It didn't push you all the way,
Right.
but some of what pushed you to relapse was nonstop, just talking and talking and talking.
Time out. Really random fact. You ought to be in an AA meeting talking about how your mediumship
was affected.
That's a whole thing, y'all. Anyway, go ahead.
And yes, we do have a humor about it, because if you cannot have humor about trauma, you're just a sad puppy, and we don't like being sad puppies.
We do not.
You know, some people can, but that's okay.
Not us.
Not us. We can't do that.
We have too much of it.
So is that why, like, when you came back, you kept talking about how your gifts were different. They were different. And I was so frustrated.
Yes.
Over everything else. And then that was just like
the icing on the cake.
The icing on the cake with business wise.
Right.
Like, the only thing that we have left right now, because our marriage was destroyed.
Yes.
Our friendship was destroyed. Our trust in each other was destroyed. Everything was destroyed and leveled out, and we were starting again. The only thing I thought was going to survive was
that
Southern Ascension. And then when you told me that, I took personal offense, and I shouldn't have, but I did, because I'm like, damn, I've officially lost everything.
But with that, and you can't deny this, like, our marriage was destroyed, because it was our trust, our friendship, and all of our entire relationship is based off of a friendship, like it always has been.
Yeah, it has.
So with all of that being gone and us not focusing on it, what did we focus on? What did we rebuild with that time?
Us.
Exactly.
I know that.
I know,
just saying,
but like I'm painting a picture.
Yeah. At that time, though, we're talking about at that time when you're talking about your gifts were different, and that I had a hard time, because, like I said, I thought, well, shit, the only thing I thought survived didn't actually survive. But then I started, because our trust was destroyed.
Right.
I openly and admittedly did not believe a word that you said about your mediumship, because I'm like, you played me this whole time with other stuff. Where you playing me with that?
Right.
And then it became a very dangerous game. And let me tell you guys something. I was wrong for it. Allissa say I was justified for it, but I was still wrong for it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that dick, okay? If somebody's going through a hard time, the last thing that they really care about is a metaphysical gift. Number one. Any hooties. It took me a long ass time to think about it. Let's talk about what you went through from the time because when you relapsed is when your shit went down.
Yes, it
because
did.
There were different signs there. Looking back, I seen like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But your shit started going down, and then as you were actively addicted, and then it's like once you went to rehab and came back, it was like you were in timeout.
Yes.
So we have about 8 minutes till we have to go to break. There should be plenty of time to hit that part up.
Okay, so during active addiction, it was almost like being punished, but not in a negative way. Like, not like you would think of punishing a kid. Let me say that. I would request for spirit to come to me, because I would be in the middle of a reading, and I would get bits and pieces, and it would be like, okay, you're done. Okay, you're done. Okay, you're done. Like, that's how it went. And then that slowly progressed to, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And this was Patty, or was this all of them?
All of them. And then at the end of active addiction is when they started kind of disappearing, which made me angry. Yeah. You're leaving me. You've been with me my whole life. Like, why are you leaving me now? And then I slowly started realizing I didn't feel the presence of the things that have been with me my entire life, protecting me.
Would that have been your brother and Goggy?
No, my brother and
Lissy.
And I would realize that there were things I couldn't, like, I could no longer feel my mom. and what was going on with her without being around her and physically seeing her like any other
yeah.
person. I could no longer do that with you or her child. Like, it was just a slow progression of things that I realized were changing. And
you also became very hostile. I do remember you being hostile when I would ask you to help somebody.
Well, a lot of that was just addiction in itself, and we've
Right.
talked about that. Like my DOCs.
Was it fully just addiction,
Most
or
of it
was
was,
it
yeah.
because you knew that you were doing something secretive
Mm-hmm.
and you had screwed your gifts up to where you no longer could? So then it was added.
It was a
frustration.
lot, but I can honestly say that a lot of my aggression came from addiction because of my DOC. My drug of choice causes that.
Yeah.
And like was just at the end of my addiction, bro. I was binging, and I mean, you know that, but I mean, I was out there. I was in there.
Yeah.
And so I honestly don't remember certain parts of like the conversations that we had when I was in active. We've talked about that too. Like, my memory is squashed from a lot of that. But there are key points with my mediumship that stick out because it was so heartbreaking for me, because that's such a huge part of my identity. It has been my entire life. So trying to figure that out just made me dive more into addiction. Yeah. Because I felt like I had been, well, shit, this is took away from me too. I screwed this up too. So just might as well go all in. Like poker. I'm all in with my poker chips. How much time we got? We got 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I would get angry. And then a lot of that was guilt, which to me, it all falls back into active addiction. I felt guilty. I was living a whole nother life. Yeah. And I was no longer available and capable of doing absolutely anything for anybody. Yeah. Not even my family. Like, I was not capable of it. And so that made me mad, which, like I said, just caused me to dive into active addiction even more, because things were just being ripped away from me. And I remember key moments like in my shoe shed, for people that were around for that. And I would stay up and obsess and just read and write. And
I remember that
because I thought that would make everything better.
But that was your excuse you gave me for staying out in the shoe shed, though. But
I mean, I really did. I would get far in there and obsess and write and study, and because for some reason in my mind I thought that would make it better. It would make it better.
Make it better.
It did not. It did not. I got slammed on my ass and told to get my shit together. Yeah. And before I'm capable of helping anyone, I had to rebuild and fix all of my bonds that I had broken, which a majority were my marriage and as a mom. I had to fix those things. And I'm still actively working on those things. And slowly but surely, I've been blessed and gifted in so many different ways. And it's drastically different for me. It feels different for me. And it's been a very slow but amazing journey. Yeah. I'm going to cry again.
Well, hey, Robert.
Hi.
So, we are going to take an early break because we're at just a good little stopping point with that. And Alyssa's eyeballs are leaking.
Yes, they are.
So when we return after this short break, we're going to pick up where we left off. Tonight, we're talking about traumas and addiction and how it affected...
Vulnerable.
We're being very vulnerable. How it affected us in the paranormal field, and how other people that we have worked with that were in active addiction... how it affected them and how we're going to talk about that.
We went to one that was like 5 hours away. Whew, that's crazy.
Todd's going to take us out in the next 10 seconds. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this, guys.
Heard a girl scream down here.
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm listening.
Sorry. You caught me just right after a good cough. Any hooties. Welcome back, guys. This is Twisted Ascension. Tonight we're talking about trauma, addiction, how it affected us personally in the para field, and we're going to talk about some of the cases that we have gone on, because a lot of those cases that weren't actually paranormal, they were addiction related, and how both of our pasts helped us with that. If you are just now tuning in, thank you so very much. Be sure to give WLTK-DB Talk Show Radio a like and follow. So many amazing podcasts that are on there. There's quite literally something for everyone. Every day. It's amazing. You can watch live on WLTK-DB on Facebook, on the app, on the website, on Twitch. We're also live on YouTube. If you want to catch the archives to our show or other shows, simply all you have to do is go to Google, type in WLTK-DB. It'll bring you to the website, go through the archives, go through YouTube, or if you have a specific show like ours, just type in Twisted Ascensions on Google, and all of our previous shows will pop up, and I kid you not, too many places to remember. I'm not even going to try to, but it's really awesome. I love it. And I'm so proud of this show, and I'm so thankful for this show and for the producers, Todd Bates, for allowing us to have a platform.
Yeah.
To talk about this stuff.
We're still learning.
We're still learning. We're still going.
We are.
So, directly back into it. We just got done talking about how it hurt you in active addiction, your mediumship. Your mediumship was severely affected. Then you went to rehab. And when you came back, it wasn't until last year, mid last year, right before your father, that things started coming back.
Yes.
In a different way.
Yeah.
Way different way.
Why do you think, what about it to you is so different? I mean, you've been with me. The reason I'm asking is because you've been with me. I've had it my whole life, but then you were with me when like this flame got sparked, and I wanted to help people so desperately. And then you watched me go down from that, and then you watched me start slowly coming back up. And even though it's super slow and it's so freaking different for me, what about it is different for you? Like, is it hard to adjust to because it's so different, or do you just? I mean, to you, why is it so different?
It's different because I can see the personal control that you have.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been together for 10 years. And in that, I've known that you've been sensitive to stuff. And it wasn't until 5 years ago that your mediumship just kind of showed its noggin.
Yeah.
And then went through that, and you bypassed a lot of your teachers and stuff, which I was in awe over, but also I still was very nervous because I'm like, you did not have control. You're much like me. I'm first one to admit I don't have control when I'm learning stuff. I get obsessive with it.
Right.
And you became so obsessive, and I can handle myself being obsessive and nonstop.
Yeah.
You're not that style. Like, that's not your personality.
Oh, no, homie, I'm all in.
Yet you're all in until you are all done.
Yes.
All done. So this bit, I've noticed that when it comes to certain things, like when we go places, you're not giving out, oh, I feel this, I feel that. You're giving out, who are you? Hi, do you want to tell me your name? What's up? And I'm like, who the hell are you? Who are you talking to? It's like it's more tweaked and in tuned.
Yeah.
Instead of you hearing the voices like you were and maybe seeing visions, it's like you're all seeing and a little bit hearing now.
Yeah.
So your eyes are constantly just like
all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna cry talking about it because it's amazing.
I will say the biggest, and what I thought was going to be the biggest downfall, but ended up being the greatest blessing, was you not doing your cards and your readings. And although that's kind of how we gained so many followers in the beginning, is because you were giving out free readings. You were helping people connect with their loved ones. We were doing the homicide cases, the missing person cases. It was literally nonstop. And we didn't turn anybody down.
And I think a lot of people don't realize when we say that, we're not talking about just a month. It was years of nonstop missing persons cases, working with police in different countries.
Cold cases.
It was absolutely wild.
And I'm rubbing my face because I'm sorry, guys.
Hi, Robert. I wanted to type it, but I didn't want to block the camera.
So the biggest thing that shocked me was what I thought I was going to have the biggest issue of you not doing that. I ended up loving more because it's like you got the spark back in your eye where you weren't constantly. I did not realize at the time when you were doing it that every time you did a reading, you gave yourself away, a little bit of yourself, even a molecule is still a lot to give.
Right.
And it took
so much of me,
so much of you. And it took us going through some stupid trauma for me to sit there and be as protective and defensive as I am over your peace now. Yeah. And I kicked myself in the ass because I wish I would have done that sooner.
Well, but we were both really excited about what was going on, and it was wild. It was a wild ride.
It was a wild ride.
It was.
But it still, nonetheless, I think that's the biggest difference for me now is seeing your self-control. Yeah. Seeing the things that you're interested in now are not just the mediocre bullshit. You were in some stuff that I can't even pronounce. You're just, it's there.
Well, that comes with the lessons I had to learn, though. You know, I was talking about when I got out of rehab, it makes me cry because it was really rough for us in our marriage. It was really rough. It was very hard. Nothing about it was easy. And there were a lot of times where neither one of us knew whether it was going to work. And that was just an honest thing. It was on the table for us. We knew we would co-parent well, and we knew that somehow we would remain to have a friendship, but we really weren't sure where our marriage was going.
Well, I mean, at that time, I told you our marriage is nothing.
Right.
There is no marriage, but I'm here as your friend to make sure that.
And you were. And the very first thing that we worked on was just me getting sober. That's what we worked on. And I'm hoping that a lot of people haven't experienced this, but when you're married and you go through something like that, and you literally, your marriage is on the table, you don't know. That in itself is a traumatic experience. Yeah. There's no denying that. It's a scary thing.
It's rough.
And then for me, my marriage is on the table, but I can't worry about that right now because I have to get my ass. I got to get my shit together. Yep. I got to get sober. I have to stay sober. I got to figure out what I got to do that. That was what my mindset had to be.
The trigger points that caused you to relapse.
So all of that together was absolutely nuts. Yeah. And I cry about it because it was absolutely. There's no way that I can deny our contract together because I don't really personally know anybody that could go through what we went through and become what we became after it and do what we've done after it and
be
still
so
just
open.
Yes, I mean, it's nuts. If you go through the list of it, is absolutely nuts and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it is. But when I say that shit was some hard work, you think doing shadow work is rough and you think working on yourself is rough, going through what we went through,
instead of reading a book and meditating on your shadow work, try having that in physical form in front of you, staring right at you.
24/7.
24/7.
365. That's how it was. And it was a daily thing for us. And it was really hard.
Yeah.
We trucked through that. I got sober. I focused on my relationship with our child, and then came our friendship. We worked on our friendship first, and we built our friendship back, and we built trust back, and then that leaned into our marriage. And slowly, all of those things were mended. And this is linking back to mediumship. Slowly, all of my relationships that had gotten out of control and were really just spaced out and not healthy and not okay and broken slowly healed themselves. Yeah. After that was done was when I got to a point where I was like, Caden, I really want to do this. Caden, I really want to do this. Caden, I need to do this. And so that's when my spark kind of lit back up, because we
kind of have to backtrack a little bit on that one though.
To where though?
So you relapsed. Well, I found out about the relapse
in April. Mm-hmm.
The page went down, and in July, August. In August is when I rebooted the page.
Mm-hmm.
Completely redone it. New logo, new everything.
Well, we went completely social media blackout for a long time.
And come August, I revamped the page because you said that you were ready to at least investigate.
That goes back to me being honest about the people that were with us, because when we opened our page back up, I did an entire thing with the people that had been with us, about 10 or 13 of them maybe, that had been with us. And I made personal phone calls and apologized to these people because they had been with us for like 4.5, 5 years.
Yeah.
And they had no idea what happened. We just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like we were gone.
Because at that time we were on 3 different podcasts permanently.
Monthly.
Well, 2 permanently, bi-weekly. Like they alternated weeks, and then 1 permanently per month.
And I had stopped teaching classes in January.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everything just came to a stop. So we came back, and you relapsed in April. We came back in August.
Mm-hmm.
And then August, September, end of September is when we got our first client.
Yep.
And it probably could not have been a better / worse case scenario. Oh my gosh. Robert said, yeah, you did. I noticed the media blackout and was getting concerned.
He did. He got our number and
called a lot of people got concerned, and it seems unprofessional. It was, but
our lives came first.
Our lives came first, and that's kind of what we had to tell everybody, is that we are just humans. We are people. That's why we're doing this podcast, because we're people. We have real shit that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just something that happened, and it was what was best for us at the time.
It was.
But, so our first client back, and this woman had reached out to me who multiple times before the shutdown or the reboot. Can we just call it a reboot? Before the reboot. Before the reboot, about how her daughter needed help and that they were seeing stuff and all this jazz was going on. And then September, she reaches back out and she's like, she knew exactly what happened with Allissa. And she was like, listen, I think that this would be a good case for Allissa to do, because
I'll never forget that case.
This, it's my daughter, and I know that it'll be easy enough for you guys to deal with.
This was also one we personally knew. Like,
yes, we knew her. We did not know the daughter. So I asked Allissa, and she was very nervous. She was like, I will try though. And I'm like, okay, all we can do is try, because since it was somebody that we knew, it's like, listen, if we start getting there, or if we get there and it's something that's too much, we can just leave.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about offending, somebody that we don't know. So we go, and it was a very emotional thing, because she had not seen us since the reboot. She hadn't seen Allissa since Allissa got sober. Mm-hmm. So it was a very emotional hello greeting. And then we all piled in together, and we drove
grabbed a bite to eat at the Sonic.
Drove an hour away to this private client's house, her daughter. And we got about 10 miles out, and Alyssa's gut just started wrenching.
You had to stop a couple of times.
She got so sick. And I'm like, what are you getting? And she's like, Caden, this is not paranormal based. And I'm like, okay, if it's not paranormal, like spiritual based, what is it? She's like, I'm getting addiction. And then she started shaking because she could taste the chemical in her mouth. And I can't go further than that, but anybody that's been in active addiction and illicit drugs, then you know what I'm referring to.
Which was really bad for me at the time.
Which was horrible at that time. You're freshly sober, and I started getting mad because I'm like, you could have warned me that she was an addiction, but she did not know. The mom claimed not to know, and I'm like, well, we'll get there and we'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not that, it's not that. I'm telling you, it's spirit, it's spirit. I'm like, okay. I'm just telling you what Alyssa's getting.
We get there, it's really weird.
We get there, and
it
is. Yeah, it was a shit show from the beginning. Like, as soon as we got there, we were told that they were expecting us, that all this stuff was happening, and then we show up, and the husband and wife that owns the house
are in an argument.
Very noticeable, like very noticeable.
Yeah.
The kid was there in the beginning, and then the wife's friend
picked them up.
Gal pal was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're waiting on the wife's gal pal to get there to pick up the kid. And like Alyssa said, it's like we were show ponies. They were mocking us. And
at that time, call? Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And at that time, I'm like, yeah, no, we're ready to skit.
Yep. Like Caden was not even playing with getting anything out of the truck.
Yeah.
He told me not to worry about a notebook. Like, he was like, no, we're not
doing that.
And he kept apologizing because this was my first thing, newly sober, and it turned out like from the beginning, it was just
it turned out horrible.
Yes.
So we get there, and it's that, and I go and talk to the mom, and I'm like, listen, we're leaving. Like, this is not what you told us. Mm-hmm. This is not what we're here for, and it's not good for Alyssa. I was telling her, I'm like, your daughter is acting very erratic, and that is behavior that I know is because of XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And Alyssa's like, yep, I'm telling you, it is XYZ. I smell it, which made her
I could smell it when we walked in the house.
Like, even more just, shaky and finicky.
It was really bad.
So to kind of wrap up that one, we were asked to please stay and to at least listen. And I'm like, I listened. Okay, I'm listening. Mm-hmm. So we listened. We stayed for an hour and a half. And everybody seemed to calm down, and we were picking up on different things, not intelligent, but it was more residual. And, I just told them, like, listen, this is residual. It's not intelligent. What you're saying that you're feeling is because y'all two need to quit fighting. You need to get some help. It's just that
we did offer rehabs too.
Yeah,
we did,
which turned into an argument of, I'm not on anything. I don't need anything.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That
it ended with that night, just because Alyssa was like, well, just to get them to shut up so that we can leave, because we did take our own vehicle, but we didn't have enough service to use GPS and get out of there. So they were going to have to show us out at least about 10 miles, and then we could make it on our own.
Yes.
And we ended the night where Alyssa was going to do the Estes method just to make them shut up. I was okay with it as long as I was right there. And lucky for me, I was recording the entire thing with my video camera, and I still have it somewhere. Where Alyssa did channel a passerby or spirit that had nothing to do with the house. It was just passing by, that had some very
colorful language
and backwoodsy thoughts. Mm-hmm. And Alyssa was trying to explain what it was, the spirit was saying. And the girl that owned the house thought that it was Alyssa saying that's how Alyssa felt, not Alyssa was talking about what the spirit was telling her. And this gal jumped up and went to go swing at Alyssa, which I jumped up and got in between, because remind you, Alyssa's blindfolded. She can't see anything coming. She's in the Estes method. She's blindfolded. She's got earphones. She's just relaying to me what she's hearing and what she's seeing. And that's what we were trying to tell this lady, and she thought it was Allissa saying all this and that believed in that type of way.
In that language.
And she, like I said, she jumped up, she went to go hit Allissa, and I jumped up and I got in between them and was just like,
I think I weighed like 114 pounds.
yeah,
at the
you
time.
were small, but nonetheless, like still, like I just got in between them and I'm like, number one, you need to back up. Number two, somebody get Allissa, to bring her out of the SS method. We're leaving. Like, this is nuts. Absolutely nuts. It was, oh my God, it was so bad. And it ended up at the end of the night, we told the mom, which was our friend, we're like, listen, your daughter is actively in addiction. If you want help, here's rehabs that we know will take her because this is her drug of choice. This is it. So if you want her, we can get her in. But if you want to continue to sit here and play this game that your daughter is not on something when we just showed you evidence, then there's no reason for us to be here. So we left. And it was a big ordeal for about a month.
It was hard. I do remember the ride home from that. I think you apologized a million times.
I did.
And I slept because it was so draining for me. I remember waking up and asking you, like, where are we? And you would tell me and I would go back to sleep. I cried all the way home. When I was awake, I would cry. So I would just go to sleep because it was just really, really horrible. I felt so bad. I didn't understand. And after that, I didn't want to do anything. Like, I did not want to do anything. And you felt bad and you didn't want to ask me to do anything because the one thing you had asked me to do turned out like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was it was rough.
It was horrendous. But
It
all
broke my
that to
heart.
say, the reason why I said it was the worst that turned out to be the best is because, that was like worst case scenario. We have never had somebody try to attack us at an investigation, or we've been around people who were actively in addiction, but not at the peak of it, No,
we did have one a couple hours away that we went to, and it was a mixture of fae and addiction.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just the addiction itself. Like it,
I don't. Yeah, that one was
what it was. We tried to tell them, that your addiction, and it does. We see it so many times in the field. And if you're an investigator and you help private clients, then you know what I'm talking about. May not agree with my percentages, but in our cases, 7 out of 10 times it's not even paranormal.
Right.
It's mental or addiction
it's
based.
Mental health. I gotta sneeze.
Yeah.
Mental health.
It's mental health or addiction based, which basically coincides with each other in certain situations. And excuse me. So, you good? We're both sneezy. We apologize. So sorry. But I forgot what I was saying because you got me tickled.
I'm so sorry.
Welcome to our marriage.
You were talking about the percentages.
Oh, the percentages. Yes. Okay. So 7 out of 10 are not even paranormal related. They're more mental or addiction related. And with those, it's very hard to get them to understand that addiction is the lowest of the low vibrating that you can get. Trauma and addiction, it's all low vibrations. When you live in low vibrations and chaos, you're going to create what most people would call a poltergeist. It
manifests itself, but with your low vibrational energy and your feeding.
Yes. You're feeding it. You ever meet somebody that is oh me is woe me, everything's always going wrong, and they crave the drama and the negative BS, and everything's always goes wrong in their life, right? Why? They constantly keep themselves in a low vibrational state.
Oh, I think I'm sneezing again. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
And so we tried to explain that to them, like, we know firsthand how hard it is to pull yourself out of that hole. But if you take baby steps And just every day, the first thing, today's going to be a better day than yesterday. And you keep telling yourself, today is going to be a better day than yesterday. Then you can raise your vibration a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it's they manifest this poltergeist that ends up, they think that it's a spirit that's messing with them or something that's
demonic.
I can't do it. I almost want to do it. I can't
You're
do that one. Demonic. Thank you.
Yeah.
In nature, and it's not. It's really just them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what trauma does. It makes you think that it's everybody else's fault but yours. You know, it's something else that's making your life miserable, not you.
Robert. He wins the best comment.
Daggum it, Robert.
So,
but it is true.
We went to the client. They were horrible. It was a horrible experience. Yeah. And then we backed off a whole lot.
Yeah, we decided then, like that, as soon as we came back in August. That was late September.
Yes.
We decided that, listen, I never thought I was going to do it, but I put it in line. We were going to start vetting our private clients.
Well, we already vetted them as far as.
No, I mean like heavily vet. I'm not talking about doing research to make sure that they're not sexual predators. I mean vetting as in you have to prove to me that this is actually happening before I drive and put myself or her in that situation. And a lot of people are like, wow, Caden, that's kind of selfish and stupid. Some people can't. They don't know how.
But they weren't there for what happened.
They weren't there for what happened. And when I tell you that, when y'all heard that story, it doesn't sound scary. And at the time, it wasn't scary. But thinking back on how, if we did not know these people.
And the situation.
And the situation that you were in, mm-hmm. It could have been detrimental of not just your sobriety, but what if that girl would have had a weapon down there?
Right.
What if the husband would have had enough and, you know,
just flipped.
That flipped, you know.
I mean, she did flip. And
so
the weapon thing is pretty accurate to me. And I said that, like, I was like, Caden, get me out of here. Please just get me out of here. And let me just preference by saying this. I'm real rough around the edges. But I did not go to a client's house.
You roughy rough.
Well, I mean, I am. It's no secret. But I didn't go to this client's house expecting confrontation with a human.
Yeah.
You know, like neither one of us did. So, and I don't know any paranormal investigator that does. Like, you go to a private client's house, you don't go thinking that you might need to take a weapon. Although we stay strapped, it was in the vehicle. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was not like on my body. I'm doing this, like that's not a thing. So that experience, I mean, it was altering to the way that we handled ourselves in the field with clients. Period. The end. Like, it was a pivotal moment. Mm-hmm. It changed the way that we done things. It took me back a couple of steps. I had no interest in helping anyone because I felt like I had been taken advantage of again. I felt like, and it was new, and I was like, here we are again with the same thing.
Well, you had already went through a thing of you were completely, and you told me that you were completely, I hate saying that word because I can't pronounce it right.
Humiliated, yeah.
Because of the relapse, and everybody knew what had happened. And
being humiliated was part of my humbling ground. Like, that was part of it. But
now you were kind of going back through it because they were making fun of us just trying to help them.
Yes.
And so I seen that, and which is what made me so mad.
Right.
Because I was like,
I talked her into doing this.
Damn it. Talked her into doing this. But, you know, it all worked out. And because of that, our phone doesn't ring as much.
And I'm not sorry
about it. And
I'm
not sorry about it because we have made it very aware or out there or public knowledge that we are just us two, right? As of right now, it is just us two currently able to travel and take on private clients and go places. I will not put myself, Allissa, in danger to go anywhere unless I have viable proof of something, because we have since then, after that is when we really started taking the vetting process serious. We vetted out 3 sexual predators that, one of which, this guy, and if you're listening, pay attention. This is how important vetting is. One of these guys was a predator that was paranormal team shopping.
Yes.
All female teams.
Yes.
Or teams predominantly female. Now, at the time, our logo was just the crow, and all you seen was Alyssa's face, you know, just kind of all over stuff, because she was the one that did the videos. So he just thought that it was Allissa, you know, that Allissa was the one that was going to go. Not knowing that this dude has connections and will run your name and do run your name. And I came across that, and then I went to 7 of the teams that we were still currently working and talking with at that time and warned them. And it just so happened, that's when I found out that he was reaching out to everybody within 200-mile radius to come to his house.
Yes. I just randomly remembered this client that was in Memphis away from us. We went to my grandmother's, and you had done some work for her, and we had to get dressed at my grandmother's to go to a private client. We left from my grandmother's house and drove to Memphis. Do you remember that? It was a couple. It was a couple in like a little house.
Yeah.
Their house was very 70s. It was
God,
really cute.
It
was an easy case.
That was the beginning to a traumatic experience as well.
Was it really?
Yeah. That was like a big ordeal with them because of another team.
Oh, yeah. But that was, they were awesome.
Yes.
They were awesome. It was an easy case. It was,
yes.
What if you could pick your perfect private client, like that was it.
That was
it was great.
Yeah.
But then that goes into a whole other
that's
podcast,
a whole other
man.
topic. But nonetheless, back on the topic of trauma.
Welcome to Living with Allissa.
Yeah. So back to the topic of trauma and addiction. So we talked about,
we went to a client and it threw me into a really messed up place.
Threw her back into a messed up place. So we made some changes, and that's why we kind of operate that we operate now.
Yeah.
You know, it's better for us. It is, no, our phone does not go off, blah, 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 blah. No, our phone does not ring constantly. No, we don't get a whole lot of emails anymore. But the ones that we do, they're credible. And that's what I want. You know, if my phone's ringing or my phone is going off or we getting emails, it's got to be credible.
Right.
You know, and I have noticed that we're both happier within the paranormal field.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of fun.
It's been fun. It's been free. It's been pressure free. Growing on my own has been amazing. My own pace at what I'm supposed to be doing and letting everything happen naturally and not pushing has been phenomenal.
So let's talk about, dude, I'm telling you, words are hard. Words are hard.
That's a good one there, Miss Jenner.
Words are hard.
That's a good one.
But let's talk about how, like currently right now, what's your mediumship look like for you? Well, how's your sobriety?
My sobriety is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
I love being sober. Love it. Even when life's hard.
I love you
it.
when you're sober.
I love it. My body is different. I'm learning, still in the process of learning how to navigate things sober differently, because the first time I did it didn't work right.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think that people forget inside sobriety every day is something.
Yeah.
And it is. And even someone who's walking through sobriety is hard. So right now at the stage that I'm in my personal life, every day I learn something different about how to live life sober.
Yeah.
And then
are the tears falling?
They are.
Sobriety
is great. It is. It's hard. And anybody that says that it's not, I don't believe them. You wake up every day and you choose it, and no matter what, you just keep choosing it to be sober. No matter how hard anything gets, you have to choose to be sober. And that has to come before everything. And that shit gets rough sometimes. And in my life, in the last year and a half, 2 years, every day I have to wake up and say, okay, bitch, get your shit together. You got to do this and you got to do it sober. Like,
But I'm
it's
so
every
proud of
day.
you.
Thanks. Gonna make me cry more.
I am.
It's
I know that most everybody watching, does know us, but the ones who are watching that don't know us, though, I am very proud, considering that you have stayed sober through your father passing last year and your grandmother, and your father passing year before last, and then your grandmother, and dealing with your mom's cancer, and then on top of other traumas, because it's not just.
Are you getting emotional?
Maybe.
So, okay. At this stage of sobriety, are you okay?
Yeah.
Did you get emotional?
I fought really hard to have the life that I have with you. And I am so fucking proud of you.
Thanks.
I said the big F word. I'm sorry.
You did. Todd is probably like, you guys are grounded.
I am so proud of you. And I'm so blessed to have you in my life. And anybody that's watching and listening should feel the same, which I know that they do. Especially we have our fan bam in the audience. I mean, we have Mimi, we have Callie, we have Dawn, we have Robert, we have Meg, and whoever else is watching that I'm sure is part of our fan bam that we have in this crazy life. But I am so proud of you, and I know that they are so proud of you. And out of all the trauma, which should be the core part of this whole podcast tonight, is out of all the bullshit that me and you have went through, stop looking at me and cry. Out of all the things that you have went through, you battled and earned it yourself. I loved you through it.
You did.
But you battled.
You did.
And earned it yourself. You kept your sobriety in check yourself. Now, granted, I did kick some people off with a couple of bats and cutie pews. But we thought that we had a family base before your sobriety. I mean, before your relapse.
We did. We thought we did.
And within that trauma of the relapse and even the trauma of getting sober, we have solidified these amazing, amazing connections with people. You have created some amazing connections with people.
They're beautiful.
And that's why I'm saying, like, trauma is going to happen. It's inevitable. It's part of life. You have to have a harmonious balance. You cannot, you can't appreciate the good times unless you battle the bad times.
Right.
And for you to have gone through all of that, look at where you are now. And I want you to really look at what you have. And I want you to, for real, be proud of yourself, because I'm proud of you. Everybody else that's watching is proud of you. Everybody that's going to watch that don't even know you is proud of you.
They probably think we're absolutely
crazy and
that's
completely
okay. That's okay.
Weird.
We are.
But and Carmen's here as well. I don't get emotional. I held it in. We're doing good. But I love you. And you know that I get emotional with you about it anyways, just not a lot.
Well, a lot of it's because, although we haven't talked about it, and maybe we have to at a later date, you went through trauma because
Todd said, preach it, sister.
You went through trauma because you watched someone that you loved with everything you had be at their lowest point. And I'm grateful that I had you getting to watch me build it back up. You watched me become a better version of myself. You watched me become a better mother. You watched me become a better daughter. You watched me become a better fucking human. I was the lowest that I had ever been. And although I did have support, because I had you as my best friend. And I also had Callie and my mom. and had all of Northern Ascension. But nobody could make me, except for me, get up and do what I had to do to get my shit together. Nobody. I had to choose it every day, and I got to wake up every day and see that you were still there. I need some Kleenex now. I'm so sorry. But I got to wake up every day and know that you were there unwaveringly and steady as a damn rock, son. Just right there, like, nope, no bitch, not today. You got to do right. You got to do right. And I did. And now I'm at a place in life where even though bad things are still happening, I can still, for the first time in my life, look around and find things to be absolutely grateful for.
Email a tissue.
No, I have one. Because they are steady, they're firm, they're real.
Yeah.
And
so do you feel like going through all of that has actually amplified?
We've talked about that.
Your gifts?
I feel like they changed them in the most beautiful way where I appreciate
like maybe a deeper understanding.
Yes. So much deeper. And I'm not public about it because it's sacred to me.
Yeah.
I'm at a point in my life where I 100% bank teller my energy. And I'm not sorry for it. I won't apologize for it ever again. I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of. But I also know what I'm worth.
Yeah.
I know what my energy and my time is worth. And I know that it's not something that I have that I can freely just give anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm at a place where I'm unapologetic about it. I used to be someone inside of mediumship who was so obsessed with helping everyone, whether they were good or bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I would just walk away from somebody. That's not what I'm saying. But I am now at a place where I control how much of me anybody gets. Yeah. And I wasn't there before. I didn't have the control. I didn't have the willpower. I didn't have enough confidence in myself and in my self-worth and what I was capable of to do that. And now I do. And I'm not sorry for it.
Yeah.
And so inside mediumship, as far as that's concerned, in this new part of my life, I am deeply rooted in my belief system, and it has become a major part of what keeps me grounded daily and what keeps me going and what keeps me having hope every day. And so inside of that, my ability is different. And you've seen that. You talked about it.
Robert said he ain't going anywhere except getting physically damaged. Katie will never go anywhere without you. And I'm not. I think she knows. We have been told, and that's another thing with the trauma of it. Like Allissa said, you had trauma with your relapse and with your dad and grandmother and your mom and stuff. And I wanted this show to be about you and your traumas.
Well, I did not know that this show was going to be about me and my traumas. Like, I thought that we were just going to talk about trauma.
Yes, but everybody has to understand where we're coming from. With me, I won't touch much except for I will say that with the traumas that I went through was very trial and tribulations for sure. Because now with the relapse, the rehab, and the deaths and the recoveries,
right?
My own spiritual gifts have awoken right alongside with yours.
They have.
Which puts us at a deeper. We always talked about how we were spiritually bound, me and Allissa. Like we've been
told we were, and we knew we were.
Yeah. Like we always knew, or I did. I can't speak on her. I knew. Like first time I even seen her, I didn't even know her name, nothing. And I said, I'm going to marry her. Didn't even know who she was. Didn't know her name. Seen her, felt it. I'm marrying that woman.
That's her right there. That's it.
And here we are 10 years later. But it's my own spiritual stuff is happening that I'm trying to figure out and trying to learn.
I'm so excited about it.
And I have taking note of what happened to you, and I'm doing it at a more slow pace.
Yes.
But I'm trying, and I have noticed that with my own spiritual awakening, I can feel our spiritual bond growing.
Yeah.
And I can actually feel how deep rooted you are into your spirituality now. Whereas before it was just, I had to trust you to believe it and watch your actions to see if they matched. And now it's, I can actually
it just vibrates out.
Well, I can actually see. I mean, it's like colors. I can see the colors.
Yeah.
Constantly rooting from your head to your feet. I mean, I can see it. And so it's strange to me because I'm like, fudge, what
is happening?
What is happening? And it's just, it's an unconscious understanding that, damn, yeah, she in it like swimwear. She is in there like swimwear and ain't going nowhere, and her spirituality is blooming where it should be.
Right.
The auric field, yes. Yeah. So all this to say, y'all,
now that I have squalled on our podcast,
now I've teared up.
We are probably
broke you
grounded.
guys in. Yeah, Todd's gonna be like, you guys are grounded. But you know, when it comes to trauma and addiction, two things are inevitable. You're never alone in it.
It's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And there's always an option out. Always have an option out. And you're not in this alone, you know. And I if you're an investigator or an enthusiast or a hunter, whatever you are, if you're trying to help private clients, please, I urge you to take some courses on addiction counseling. Get certified. And I want you to really, when you're talking to your private clients, I really want you to think about what they're telling you and understand how to look for cues if it's addiction related and not psychosis related or true paranormal related. That last one is a topic for another show when it comes to psychoses and mental illness.
Yeah.
But every investigator needs to know how to deal with addiction and have at least 3 rehabs at your disposal.
Research your rehabs.
Yeah, and research them thoroughly.
Yes.
Research them.
Talk to them, find out admissions, find out grants, it's different in every state, and I know that, but in Mississippi, it's all about grants. And it's pretty easy to get them if you are working on the behalf of someone and you make several phone calls and you just, you got to be consistent with it, but it is possible. It is doable without you having to be out of pocket. Everybody automatically assumes that they're going to have to chunk out some change to send somebody to rehab. Do your research, learn your rehabs, learn what your state has to offer.
Yeah. States do have grants.
And carry that in your arsenal because you never know when you might be the person that gets someone somewhere that changes their life forever, because it is very possible. And inside this field, you would be so shocked at how many people are suffering from it.
Yeah. Not just clients, but investigators themselves.
Yep. Because we have been so open about addiction, we've met a lot more of them. We've had conversations with them. And it's more prominent inside this field than a lot of people know, and it's very well hidden.
Yeah.
And that's sad to me because a lot of them, even the ones that we've talked to, are so afraid of the peers inside the paranormal field and their judgment. Like, not only are they concerned about their family's judgment and their personal lives and all of that, they're also afraid of what's going to happen inside this field, because you can be kicked out. You're automatically judged. You're automatically discredited for anything that you've said or done. All of the bonds that you've made, there's no telling where they're going to go. And the discredit part is a big thing for someone inside the field, because once you're labeled discredited and you're not trustworthy and your evidence is fake or what you're seeing and feeling isn't real, it's hard to get that back. Been there, done that. It's hard to get that back. And when you're trying to be sober, that's a big hill to climb.
Yeah. So
I guess with that inside, if you're inside the field, show some humanity with it. I mean, just that's really all I'm going to say.
Don't take somebody's downfall and use it as your stepping stone to get over them.
Because it won't last long. It'll tumble down.
Yep. And don't maliciously put out a team, or you shouldn't be giving out clients' information anyways. That's immoral and highly illegal in a lot of states. But
is that called doxing?
Well, yeah, if you're giving out the names and the addresses, yeah.
I don't know anything about that. I just heard it. So
don't take somebody's downfall if they're dealing with addiction or mental illness and throw it out there like, you guys shouldn't work with them because they're ex-addicts or they're this or they're that. Let me tell you something. Chaz. Chaz. That was the first thing that came up. Chaz. Yes, we are both ex-addicts. A lot of people watching right now are ex-addicts. Producer, if you read his book,
you would know.
He's
such a phenomenal human.
And we all recover.
Yes.
We all can heal. We all can get better. And just because somebody has a past does not mean that that's them currently. People change. People can get better. People can improve. Not saying that about everybody. There's some people who are just stuck in the shit. They don't want to get out, and that's their own thing. They don't want to. But people who really do, like Allissa, literally the bottom of the ocean. I mean, she swam back up, and we're slowly getting there.
We finally got a buoy to hold on to. Right?
Yes, we do.
We got a lifeline.
But it's just one of those that don't
use someone's weakness against them.
You talk.
Don't do that. Be a better human than that. Show compassion. Show grace. Show humility. People at their weakest moments in this world right now that we're in, it's a fragile thing, and people are walking lines every day where they're struggling just to keep breathing because it seems easier not to. And who the hell is anybody to judge them? You don't know what someone's battling. Just like I said, show humanity, show humility, show grace, and just be a kind human. If you can't offer them anything, at least offer them kindness.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to take an early break. We will be right back. This is Twisted Ascensions. You guys are awesome. We'll be right back.
Want to keep up with the latest at the station? How about catch up on your favorite shows on the go? Download the free WLTK-DB mobile app on the App Store and Google Play. Watch, listen, and shop right from the palm of your hand. The WLTK-DB mobile app. The truth is here and now. Get yours today.
And we're back. This is, if you're just tuning back in, this is Twisted Ascensions. My name is Caden. My wife, Allissa, will be back here in the next 5 seconds. This is WLTK-DB talk show. We love it here. I love it here. I hope you guys are loving it here. We are so grateful for everybody that has tuned in live and is watching. If you're listening on the web page or the Facebook page or the app, or if you're watching us on Twitch, YouTube, or if you're going back on the archives and you're just now tuning in, we appreciate you so much. And the night is still young. We are not the last show for the night.
No, and I unplanned, but the show behind us would be really awesome for people that listen to this one, man.
Yes,
Could be.
absolutely. Because next on Haunted Voices with Todd Bates, and I think Nicole's going to be in there tonight as well.
So
They're talking to Deidre, which she also owns her own podcast on WLTK. And tonight they're talking about stuff that if you listen to our show, you might need to scoot on over there as well. Because she is going to deep dive into the root of it all.
Yes.
And I am in love. And that's Haunted Voices. That comes on right after us. Also, there's other podcasts that you can watch. Just go to WLTK-DB, WLTK-DB Talk Show Radio. You can get on there, kind of scroll, check out all the podcasts that are going on, and also give it a like, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't familiar, Todd Bates is the producer and owner of WLTK-DB. We love him. He just released a brand new book.
Yes, he did. And we
just released it. I do have it. And I meant to go grab it while we're on break just to show you guys. It's in the bookshelf somewhere.
It is.
But
we have a
I finished it. It's an awesome read. Really gets you involved in his life and what took place for this platform to happen. Like WLTK, for it to be what it is, I mean, he tells you all about it. It's awesome. I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful.
Me too.
So grateful.
Me too.
Anywho, we're going to get close to wrapping up the night. We're talking about addictions and traumas and things that have led us to where we are now in our lives and in our field, in the field. And we talked about Alyssa's relapse.
Yes.
What happened after that? Some of the traumas that we've gone through in the last 3 years with losing loved ones and dealing with very hard situations, losing friends, gaining friends. It's been,
boy, our circle got small.
It got small.
I love it so much.
I do too. And some old ones pop back in.
They do.
You know, and we're able to make amends
And work on those
relationships. And it's been a hell of a journey. And I love it, and I love being able to share.
But homie, we did it
together. We did. And I'm thrilled. And I hope you guys enjoy our podcast because it's a little bit out of the norm.
It is. It's very raw. And we just to be extremely vulnerable, we thought that we would be able to do more of a strict schedule on our podcast. We just don't work that way. We flow with each other.
We flow with the audience.
And we do. We really do. But I also realized that we had not been, we've been genuine, but we had not been completely raw and open so far. And that's who we are.
Because with some of the topics that come later on, you guys really have to understand
what we talked about tonight to get some of the other things.
What we talked about and what has happened because of it that makes us think the way that we think about the paranormal field or clients or locations and stuff, because we've quite literally just hit not even the tip of the iceberg. We've just feathered a few snowflakes off of it. And this ice cap is ready for sure, because it's something that needs to be talked about. I'm so sick of skirting around it. I'm tired of good people being overlooked for their accomplishments.
Hardworking, dedicated people. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that bothers me.
I
Since
have
we're on that topic.
Well, I just to add in, I have met more people in the last 2 years who are so genuine
Mm-hmm.
and have been in this field for years, and I never even knew because I'm like, oh, they only got so many followers. They're
Yep.
probably not even good.
Yep.
I used to be that butthole.
Yep.
Guess what? I got humbled super quick. I got checked.
Sorry for that.
My guidance checked me for sure.
Yeah.
And I have branched out and looked and talked to other people.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, since we kind of formed into that where we're at now, where we look at genuine things, do you realize how many things have came to us inside this field since then? I just now realized that. Like,
Yeah.
what you sent out the other day, we haven't really talked about it on here, but what you sent out the other day for us,
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
I'm not going to downgrade the podcast that we were on because they were phenomenal before everything happened and we went down and came back. But the ones that we are on now, holy shit, compared to what we were doing before. Like, it's nuts to me that once we started genuinely focusing on genuine relationships inside this field, inside the paranormal field, and building bonds with genuine people instead of just, well, they look like they got a lot going on and I want to go do that.
Yeah.
Instead of that, doing what we do now.
Instead of the hustle and bustle, hanging with the cool kids at the chill table.
Yes. When we went to the other table, there were not very many people there. It got great.
Listen, we've been, even Todd has made fun of us for saying, we did everything the hard way so you don't have to. We did. We did everything the hard way. And we are an open book. And anytime during our show, feel free to ask questions.
Absolutely.
Robert, Don, Callie, Carmen, other people who are watching that have been with us for many, many years, they will tell you, we're reading. We'll answer. As soon as we see it, we will definitely answer those questions. We love being involved. That's our thing. Well, that's our thing. That's why we say we're getting back to our roots. It's me and Allissa can sit here and talk for hours, just me and her, but
yes, we could.
And we can talk about things that we've gone through, but there may be something that you think, well, what about this with the situation or a topic that we're talking about? And we can go further into it.
Yep.
I don't know. I have just enjoyed fully this whole journey past 2 years.
Yes.
We've kind of buckled down and done what we wanted to do. We, are still working on the current theater, trying to get it up and going. Of course, we have our podcast here. This year, we're not really traveling much. We're not going to travel very much right now. But the locations that we do want to do, I'm pretty stoked about when we are able to do it. Like once we know that Mimi is good to go, like we're good to go.
Yes.
And I'm just am crazy excited about it. We got told that we're going to be featured in a magazine coming out in April. We're going to be part of the April edition.
Time out. So we said that about the cool table. Let me preference something, y'all. Northern Ascension is the cool table.
Yeah.
Like, we made it to the league.
Like, you guys made the cool table.
We made it to the cool table.
That's why I'm saying they
awesome.
made the cool table. We just happened to be able to sit at the cool table. I'm pretty stoked about it. Okay. But anywho, see, Fam Bam.
They're great.
Oh, darn.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that hand.
Yeah,
it's
see,
the other one, but it's
nerdy.
broken.
That was an epic fail.
It was. I'm so sorry.
That was a fail. But anyways, yeah,
Once
we're gonna
Minnie's
be
straight, we'll be back to traveling.
Yeah, we're back to traveling. Alicia is going to be taking
A small break.
small break, and much deserved and needed.
Absolutely.
Much deserved and needed. She's just going to be on a break this year, so it kind of all worked out. Like this year's going to be all about family for us. It's all about family for her.
Summertime's about family for us, regardless. We always.
I just meant this year in general.
Oh well, yeah.
Excuse me.
But don't get it twisted. If we wake up on a Saturday and we want to go, we go.
Yeah.
We don't go live like we used to about it because we just try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we got to get better about that because we was doing real good. But now I'm so wrapped up in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like I forget to go live because I'm just having a good time with you doing what we love to do.
But it's in due time. In due time. But yeah, so we're not really doing a whole lot this year except for focusing on the theater, trying to we
started building it, but we have to just
we got to get with the directors
consistent with
and
it.
kind of all get on the same page with it before we can unveil it to the public officially, you know.
We have done a couple of things that were public.
And then we're going to be, of course, focusing on the podcast a lot this year. We're going to be featured in the April edition. And then whenever I get the proof of we're going to be in it, but when I read the proof and it's done, all right, we'll see you in April.
We got go ahead.
What?
I was excited about it.
Yeah.
Because I was shook about it.
We'll put it out. I didn't know. Somebody apparently nominated
us.
And I was completely in awe and
didn't even
shocked
know
and
it
honored.
existed.
I
had no idea.
I didn't either.
It's
But
wild.
I'm pretty stoked about it. You're just going to see a lot more positive stuff from us. And we kind of talk about some negative stuff here, but it has to be because
you gotta understand.
You have to understand it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
When
Sometimes
we did it the hard way, so you didn't have to.
For
it's
real.
Literal.
I need a shirt. Somebody make me a shirt. I need a shirt that says Jebba Caden. Did it the hard way, so you didn't have to.
Yes.
That's what I need. But oh my goodness.
And everybody calls us the babies, but you know what? And I'm not gonna say we are young.
But now we're officially not the youngest
but
out there anymore.
We have been through it on our own accord. We were wild and ignorant and blatant, and we are both people who go all in, like full send. There's no pullback, and so.
We're either going to crash and burn or we're going to fly and soar. It's going to be one of the two. We matured a lot. So we're still very goofy. We still speak our mind. And that's one thing you don't have to worry about. You're not going to be left assuming what we meant. We say what we mean, we mean what we say. And sometimes it comes off as rude. Yes. We work on that. Yes. But, it's all about love. Love and learning, for sure. You got to learn, you know. And I think with that being said, we've hit a great time to stop for the night.
Yes.
So that Todd can get prepped.
Get prepared for his show, and you guys can get your snacks, your drinks, go to the loo.
Go to the loo, go to the bathroom, go outside.
Do whatever you need to do.
Get your snacky snacks, get your drinky drink. If you smoke,
settle in.
Settle in, because I'm telling you,
Haunted Voices is up next.
Yep. And if you enjoyed what we talked about tonight, you're really going to want to listen to them next. I'm telling you. They go deeper into it, and I'm excited about listening.
So. I am too, especially following what we just did. Yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm pretty excited, guys. But just remember, if you're catching us live, thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Please share this out, because the more we grow, the more people we reach. The more people we reach, the more people we can help. So, it's all about sharing is caring in this case. And so, excuse me. Like I said, our lives are always on Twitter, WLTK-DB.com, the WLTK-DB app, Facebook page, the YouTube page, Twitch, and then of course the archives you can always find on the website or the app, or you can just, if you have a specific one that you want to look up, you can just Google it and it will definitely come up for sure.
Yes.
But anyways, are you ready to tell them good night?
I suppose.
You suppose? All right, y'all. Well, this has been Twisted Ascension. It's been a great night. Love and light. May God bless you. May the gods be with you. And until next time, we're out.
Bye, guys.
Take us out, Todd.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.